Hey, welcome back to Bandwagon fans. This is Jeff, and today I'm going to be talking about the comedy, the inspirational comedy, The Upside. Before I start talking about the movie, just want to take a moment to invite you to hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button as well. I'm not doing this to really grow a channel. I'm not trying to do this for the money. I just enjoy doing this, and it's good. It's good practice for me, but it's always nice to know that you're appreciated. So if you do, hit those buttons. And if you don't, go ahead and leave a comment below telling me why I suck. I'll get over it. So The Upside. This is an inspirational comedy starring Bryan Cranston as stereotypical rich white guy and Kevin Hart as stereotypical poor black guy. And what happens when they meet and learn to get along. So going to take a moment to enjoy some highlights from the trailer.
You need to prove you're looking for work.
I've been looking, trust me.
3 signatures by tomorrow, or you can tell it to the judge.
We're gonna find you someone you like.
Let me be your arms and your legs.
I love that. All right.
Penthouse.
You need to wait your turn.
Relax, it's not a holdup. Just sign this one, please.
How would I sign it?
I don't know. Slowly. As rich as Jay-Z?
No, richer.
Which car is yours?
All of these to the right.
Oh, my God.
They're not practical.
Exactly. You can have any girl you want. What about this lady with all the bow ties? I'll be perfect for each other. You can't move your body, and she can't move her face. Are you mad? You want to break this big-ass bottle of wine? Yeah! What else you want to do?
The bull. Dell made a mess.
So in the intro, it's being kind of derisive about calling them stereotypes, and that it's a pretty accurate description. So this is a movie that I was absolutely dreading going to watch, but it was either this or what is it, the Dog's Journey. I decided to go with this one. Okay, absolutely dreading it from the trailer. It looked like just one stereotypical cliche piled on top of another. And I gotta say, at least for the first 25 minutes or so, the movie did not disappoint. The movie is loosely based off a true story, the life of I've got the name here, Felipe Pozzo de Borgo, who is a Corsican French businessman and who became a quadriplegic in the early 90s. Although I have not been able to find much more about his story. But his story has inspired other movies and books, which eventually became The Upside. So obviously, Bryan Cranston plays the wealthy quadriplegic who ends up hiring Kevin Hart's character to be his personal caretaker. The comedy comes from Kevin Hart actually being a parolee who just needed his job interview sheet signed so he can get the parole officer off his back, but actually has zero qualifications for being a personal assistant. Beginning of the movie, they lean so hard into the stereotypes. Kevin Hart's character is, if you were the rightest of right-wing racists doing a caricature of what you think black people actually were like, you would even be shocked at how far into the stereotypes they wrote Kevin Hart's character. Early on, he has zero interest in working, doesn't want to do any job, is a convicted felon, is behind on his child support, never sees his kid, is a complete jerk, runs with drug bangers or runs with drug runners. At one point, instead he needs to sit down waiting for this job interview, and instead of just looking at the guy and say, "Hey, can you mind if I sit there?" He just looks at him and shrugs, and the guy's like, "What, you want me to move?" He's like, "Yeah, except I'm not asking." So I'm sure there are real people like this in real life, but come on. Nobody Nobody is that completely unaware of their surroundings and is just that much of a jerk just to be a jerk. All right. And if they are, you're not going to buy that after a couple days they're going to suddenly become a decent human being again. So the characters, and then conversely, Bryan Cranston's character was listening to opera, just every stereotype of the uptight white person you can imagine. That was Bryan Cranston's character. So, and I say character loosely because these weren't characters, these were tropes and stereotypes. However, this is Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. These are two brilliant actors with impeccable comedic timing. And if you put a camera on them for 90 minutes, it doesn't matter what they're doing. They can be washing laundry. You throw a camera on those two guys, they're going to start to win you over eventually. And they really did. There were moments throughout the movie where the rest of the people in the theater, more so than me, but people were just laugh out loud, were just in hysterics. And even though I was not enjoying the movie, there were definitely moments where I chuckled. Like I said, these two guys, you can't put a camera on them for 90 minutes without one of them making us laugh. And when it was just the two of them kind of giving each other a hard time, that was where the movie kind of shined. Just let them be who they are. The actual movie they're in, however, this is so cliched. And I'm trying to go through the list of movies that follow the same premise, starting with like Enemy Mine, and this movie offers absolutely nothing new. This is as formulaic an inspirational movie can be. It's probably why it got dumped in January. And in terms of, is it worth watching? No, definitely not worth going to the theater for. This is the kind of thing that is playing on TNT on a Sunday afternoon, and you can have it on in the background while you're cleaning. But if you like Kevin Hart, there are better movies with Kevin Hart. There are better movies with Bryan Cranston. I'm not going to remember this movie a week from now. It was pretty forgettable. And although I enjoyed it in the moment watching it the first time because of their performances, I know if I tried to watch it a second time, the comedy wouldn't be as funny and the problematic areas of the movie would be more pronounced. So although the movie is funny, it was just really unnecessarily and sloppily misogynistic, particularly in the beginning of the movie, the way Kevin Hart's stereotypical black guy treats all the women around him. It was, I mentioned how predictable it was. There's some love triangle stuff going on in the movie, and you know exactly where it's going to go 10 minutes into the movie. So when it tries to set up some tension, there is no real tension because we as the audience we know where it's going to go. So predictable, formulaic, one stereotype after another. Although Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston did the most they can and got a lot of laughs out of the audience, zero rewatchability, and like I said, not worth going to see in the theater, but definitely go check it out. Have it on in the background. There's better versions of this movie out there. So that's my opinion. For those of you that have seen it, and I know it's doing a little better than expectations had. So for those of you that have seen it, go ahead and leave your comments below. Tell me what you thought of it. I think a lot of people are going to say they actually enjoyed the movie. Actually, let me take a look real quick. So IMDb, let me see what the user score. Sorry, part of my. Okay, so on IMDb, user reviews have it at 5.6 out of 10 stars. And I saw earlier Rotten Tomatoes has it at 40%. So there isn't a huge split between critics and the audience. Critics are a little bit harsher on it, but overall, it's getting a mediocre reception, which is probably a fair assessment. Like I said, entertaining and enjoyable the first time, zero rewatchability, and the problems in the movie would become more pronounced the more you actually try to think about it. So if you do see it, take my advice and forget about it. Let it be a nice, somewhat pleasant memory in the distance. Don't try to think too much about it, or it will just become even more frustrating. So that's my take on The Upside. Leave your comments below. As always, like and subscribe to see more from me. And thanks for watching. I'm Jeff. Get on the bandwagon.